Hey everybody, it's Russ the Unpaid Intern here at Afroworld Studios. It's Black History Month, and this year we decided to do something a little different. Now, if you've ever visited our store in person, you've probably noticed our collection of oil paintings featuring prominent African American celebrities, icons, and historical figures. You may even know some of them were created by our father and other members of his guild. What you probably didn't know is that the ones on display are not the entire collection. In fact, though the number changes from time to time, our collection is one of the largest privately owned collections featuring notable Black people in America. Welcome to Afroworld Presents Black History Month 2021, a look at our past. Today we look at the life and legacy of civil rights icon Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Born Michael King Jr. in 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was an American Baptist minister and activist who became the most visible spokesperson and leader in the civil rights movement from 1955 until his assassination in 1968. King is best known for advancing civil rights through nonviolence and civil disobedience, inspired by his Christian beliefs and the nonviolent activism of Mahatma Gandhi. He was the son of an early civil rights activist, Martin Luther King Sr. King participated in and led marches for blacks' rights to vote, desegregation, labor rights, and other basic civil rights. King led the 1955 Montgomery bus boycott and later became the first president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. As president of the SCLC, he led the unsuccessful Albany movement in Albany, Georgia, and helped some of the nonviolent 1963 protest in Birmingham, Alabama. King helped organize the 1963 March on Washington, where he delivered his famous "I Have a Dream" speech on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. The SCLC put into practice some of the tactics of nonviolent protest with some success by strategically choosing the methods and places in which the protests were carried out. There were several dramatic standoffs with segregationist authorities who sometimes turned violent. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover considered King a radical and made him an object of the FBI's COINTELPRO from 1963 forward. FBI agents investigated him for possible communist ties, recorded his extramarital liaisons, and reported on them to government officials, and in 1964 mailed King a threatening anonymous letter which he interpreted as an attempt to make him commit suicide. On October 14, 1964, King won the Nobel Peace Prize for combating racial inequality through nonviolent resistance. In 1965, he helped organize 2 of the 3 Selma to Montgomery marches. In his final years, he expanded his focus to include opposition towards poverty, capitalism, and the Vietnam War. In 1968, King was planning a national occupation of Washington, D.C. to be called the Poor People's Campaign when he was assassinated on April 4th in Memphis, Tennessee. His death was followed by riots in many U.S. cities. Allegations that James Earl Ray, the man convicted of killing King, had been framed or acted in concert with government agents persisted for decades after the shooting. King was posthumously awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom and the Congressional Gold Medal. Martin Luther King Jr. Day was established as a holiday in cities and states throughout the United States beginning in 1971. The holiday was enacted at the federal level by legislation signed by President Ronald Reagan in 1986. Hundreds of streets in the U.S. have been renamed in honor, and the most populous county in Washington state was rededicated for him. The Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial at the National Mall in Washington, D.C. was dedicated in 2011. King has become a national icon in the history of American progressivism. His main legacy was to secure progress on civil rights in the U.S., and just days after King's assassination, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1968. Title 8 of the Act, commonly known as the Fair Housing Act, prohibited discrimination in housing and housing-related transactions on the basis of race, religion, or national origin. This legislation was seen as a tribute to King's struggle in his final years to combat residual discrimination in the U.S. The day following King's assassination, school teacher Jane Elliott conducted her first Blue Eyes, Brown Eyes exercise with her class of elementary schools in Riceville, Iowa. Her purpose was to help them understand King's death as it related to racism, something they little understood as they lived in a predominantly white community. King's wife, Coretta Scott King, followed in her husband's footsteps and was active in matters of social justice and civil rights until her death in 2006. The same year that Martin Luther King was assassinated, she established the King Center in Atlanta, Georgia, dedicated to preserving his legacy and the work of championing nonviolent conflict resolutions and tolerance worldwide. We hope that you enjoyed this installment of Afroworld Presents Black History Month 2021, a look at our past. Please join us tomorrow as we feature another African American icon chosen from the art collection of Afroworld Hair and Fashions. Until then, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hello there, Afroworld Nation. It's Russ, the unpaid intern, and I'm excited to be with you today because I am going to introduce you to a brand new product that I like and I know you're going to love. But before I show you what it is, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a store talking to a cashier or maybe having to get help from an employee only to find that they didn't understand what you were saying and you couldn't understand what they were saying because everybody's wearing masks? Well, of course you have. We all have lately. There's a new product that has just become available and it's going to make your life so much easier because let's face it, masks are going to be here for a while. It's called the Breathe Easy Mask Accessory and I know you're going to love it. Let me show you what it is. Okay, it's this right here. Okay, and basically what this does is it goes on my face between my underneath my mask, and it helps me to breathe easier while still allowing people to be fully protected. So here we go. This is one of our 3-layer masks. In fact, you've been hearing people talk a lot about the KN95s. This mask is every bit as good as that. I have a filter in here as well. I have 3 layers of protection. This is a great mask. Plus, it doesn't make me look like a welder when I'm walking around. All right, so I'm gonna take my Breathe Easy device, I'm gonna put it behind my mask, and then I'm just gonna put the mask on as normal. On my face and over my nose. Now, what you'll notice is that you can still hear what I'm saying, and the reason is because the mask is not directly against my mouth and nose. With the Breathe Easy appliance, you can carry on a conversation while still being fully protected and protecting those around you. The Breathe Easy accessory is supposed to sell for $19.95. We sell it for about half of that, and there are specials available on the website. If you'd like more information, please visit afroworld.com or call us at 314-389-5194. Thanks, and we'll talk to you later.